So I've just finished watching the budget and wow. New funding for public services, innovation, green industry, childcare, defence, schools. It sounded like Oprah with a treasury spreadsheet. But here's the real question nobody on TV is asking. Where is all this money actually coming from? Because yes, there were some satisfying clawbacks, excessive profits from asylum seeker hotels, finally. Some of those contracts were basically taxpayer-funded private equity. And human suffering shouldn't be a business model. COVID procurement scandal, cash getting retrieved, aka stop awarding multi-million pound PPE contracts to your mate from the golf club. That was a bit of karma there, a bit of accountability, we'll love to see it. And then so there was another one, I wasn't even aware of this, Motability scheme reforms, long overdue if it stops exploitation. So people on the Motability scheme can get luxury vehicles. I never even knew about this. So that's been reformed as well. Luxury vehicles will no longer be available on the Motability scheme. Minimum wage increase, brilliant for workers, brutal for hospitality margins, but fair. But then nothing about raising tax thresholds. So as wages rise, tax bands stay frozen, cost of living keeps climbing. Hello darkness, my old friend. Fiscal drag. This is the stealthiest stealth tax in British history. It doesn't raise your tax rate, it just quietly takes more of your income. No headlines, no political backlash. Well, not yet. I haven't actually checked the headlines yet. I've just come straight on to record this. But just less money in our banks. So yes, the budget gives, but the funding mechanism is the middle class, business owners, freelancers, contractors, PAYE earners. People who already hold this economy together with caffeine and grit. And that's before we even get into dividend tax. AKA, let's take more from the people who actually create the jobs. So yeah, it was inspiring, a little bit compassionate, but don't be fooled, someone's paying for it. And it's not yachts, it's us. So there was something in the budget that I nearly cried. The two child benefit cap is scrapped, and she mentioned the rape clause is removed. And when she did announce the end of the rape clause, I was nearly crying, because unless you've lived it, you don't understand how financial policy becomes a prison. I survived domestic abuse and horrendous violence. I'm still legally required to make my child available to the man who caused us harm. I've sat in meetings, in courtrooms, with social services, trying to prove I'm a safe mother while the system protected his rights more than our reality. So imagine on top of all that being told, we'll only help feed your children if you disclose your trauma to a stranger and fill in a form about it. That wasn't welfare policy, that was state-sanctioned humiliation. Ending it isn't about handouts, it's about dignity. It's about acknowledging that women don't choose abuse. Children don't choose their conception, and survival shouldn't come with a financial penalty. This matters because economic stability is often the difference between leaving and staying, living and merely surviving. And today, for the first time in a long time, I'm nearly crying now, the system chose compassion over cruelty. The third point I want to talk about is the mansion tax, high value homes. Congratulations, you just became a revenue stream. The mansion tax is officially entering the chat. This mainly hits £2 million plus properties, London townhouses, inherited estates, we're asset rich but cash poor brigade. If your front door has a name, not a number, HMRC wants a postcard. Moral of the story, don't rage, plan. Valuations matter, structure matters, liquidity matters. Next was the national living wage jumping to £12.71 and 18 to 20-year-olds up to £10.85. For workers, love it. More dignity, more breathing room, fewer nights choosing between heating and dinner. That's the Britain most of us still believe in, but for hospitality, social care, nurseries, retail, margins just got slimmer. Payroll costs rise, pension contributions rise, employer NI rises, and customers still want 2021 prices. Cute. So if you employ people, now is not the time for vibes, it's time for strategy. You need to review your pricing, reassess menu engineering, map staffing against peak demand, automate the boring stuff, invest in training so productivity rises with wages, not against them. This isn't a do more with less era, it's a work smarter or get eaten by the economy. And yes, speak to your accountant before you panic, screenshot or sack everyone. There are grants, reliefs and optimisation routes most businesses never use. Wage rises are not the villain, lack of planning is. Free school meals expanded, another 460k children now get free school meals. This is civilization level policy. Kids can't learn when they're hungry. It's not flashy, it's not ideological, it's just decent. The kind of Britain most people still want to believe in. And I personally think this is great because I saw a Facebook post of a woman the other day, I think she had 3 kids, working full time, using all the wraparound childcare, and she was asking where the food banks were. Like, why is a woman working full time needed food banks in this day and age? It's disgusting. So hopefully her kids are now in the band of getting free school meals. Next up was business rates, retail and hospitality versus warehouses. Retail and hospitality finally getting a breather with lower business rates. They've survived Brexit, lockdowns, inflation and the Karens of society. But warehouses are now footing the bill, which is political code for Amazon. If you run logistics, storage, e-com, fulfillment, get ahead of this. Model it now, not after the bill arrives. So the asylum seeker hotels, the excess profits clawed back. This one is delicious. Some hotels were charging the government luxury resort prices for rooms of misery. Pure arbitrage and zero shame. The Chancellor said absolutely not and is pulling those excess profits back. Taxpayers win, humanity wins. The only losers are opportunists who saw trauma and thought margin opportunity. Bad news for employees. The salary sacrifice is being capped at $2,000. Corporate girlies, directors, finance bros, buckle up. Salary sacrifice is being capped at 2k. Company car strategies, healthcare, tech, bikes, childcare, suddenly less efficient. HR departments are already Googling new benefits ideas. This is the budget's quietest but most expensive sentence. Good news, VAT threshold remains unchanged. So everyone cheers. Yay! And then we had ISA reforms. Everyone's busy arguing about mansion taxes and minimum wage, but the quiet superstar of this budget was ISA reform. ISAs are being redesigned, and this is a sleeper hit for anyone who actually wants to build wealth, not just survive direct debits. The translation: the government wants your savings fueling British businesses, British innovation, British industry, not piling into Apple, Tesla and whatever AI coin your mate on Telegram is shilling. We're likely talking higher annual allowances, simpler products instead of the current ISA alphabet soup. She did mention $8,000 of it going into UK stocks, maybe even a dedicated UK growth ISA, something like that in an investment wrapper. And honestly, I'm here for it because with frozen tax thresholds and dividend hikes, tax-free investing just became the last safe house standing. So if you're serious about long-term wealth, pensions compounding, diversification, generational planning, this is the policy to watch. It's not a sexy headline, but financially life-changing in a world where everyone's shouting about tax rises. The ISA reform is the whisper saying build, invest, grow, keep more of what's yours. Let's have a look at the frozen tax thresholds. Everyone's celebrating the shiny spending announcements, but look underneath the wrapping paper. Tax thresholds are still frozen, which means the Chancellor didn't have to raise income tax because inflation will do the work for her. Wages go up, prices go up, cost of living goes up, and quietly, more of your salary drifts into tax. No vote, no headline, no drama. This is fiscal drag, the most British stealth tax ever invented. It's polite, quiet wearing a barber jacket, pretending it's not happening, but for PAYE workers, it means that cost of living pay rise your boss gave you, yeah, the government's already spent it. For business owners, directors, contractors, it means higher payroll tax, higher personal tax, higher dividend tax, and absolutely zero acknowledgement. And that's how this budget gets funded. Not from yachts, not from offshore trusts, but from nurses, teachers, tradespeople, limited company directors, the entrepreneurial middle class, holding the economy together with caffeine and sheer grit. So yes, celebrate the investment, the social change, the progress. I did, but don't ignore the foundation it's built on. Your income is now the silent revenue stream. Another point was the fraud crackdown, tax fraud, benefit fraud, both getting clamped down in a big way. And on paper, yeah, we all support that. No one wants public money siphoned off by scammers, but here's the uncomfortable reality. HMRC doesn't always know the difference between deliberate fraud and you forgetting to attach a £12 Costa receipt. And if you saw my video on HMRC rolling out AI to monitor taxpayers, I'll link that up here actually. You already know what's coming. Machine learning doesn't do nuance, it doesn't understand context, it sees patterns, anomalies, timing, and suddenly your admin error looks like organised crime. Little extreme. So if you're a business owner, contractor, freelancer, landlord, whatever, keep the receipts, keep the records, reconcile your accounts, stop burying your head in the spreadsheets, get a software, and yes, keep your accountant on speed dial because the AI era of tax enforcement has arrived, and honestly, your books need to be tighter than my overdraft during the energy crisis. Motability Reforms, so I did just mention that, didn't I? Motability isn't just a car scheme, it's independence and dignity, connection, freedom. The budget announced reforms to crack down on people abusing the system, and if it genuinely stops exploitation, amazing. Public money should go to the people it was intended for, not the cousin of someone who knows a GP and fancies a free SUV. But here's the risk. If these reforms create more hoops, more assessments, more delays, or more humiliating proof of disability rituals, then disabled people lose mobility, and with it, employment, social life, medical access, childcare, literally their day-to-day existence. Policy is easy on paper, tick boxes, eligibility criteria, cost savings, spreadsheets. Westminster loves that stuff, but real lives aren't spreadsheets. Losing a mobility vehicle means missing hospital appointments, losing jobs, losing independence, becoming isolated, and that has a far higher economic and social cost long term. So yes, tighten the rules, but centre humans while you do it. Because mobility isn't a luxury, it's survival. And now let's talk about the hardest part of this budget. Dividend tax just went up by 2 percentage points. And yeah, it sounds minor until you realise who actually pays it. It's not hedge funds, it's not offshore billionaires, it's not faceless corporations with Cayman Islands PO boxes. It's us, the people who built businesses from nothing, the directors, consultants, shop owners, tradespeople, creators, agency founders, the backbone of the UK economy, the people who kept going when interest rates skyrocketed, when suppliers ghosted, when clients delayed payment, when HMRC sent brown envelopes like Wimbledon balls. We propped up this economy with blood, sweat, caffeine, overdrafts, tears, breakdowns, comebacks, and instead of relief, we get a higher tax bill for taking money out of the companies we literally created. And I do get it, today's budget had heart. Ending the rape clause, I cried. As a domestic abuse survivor navigating a system that still requires me to make my child available to the man who harmed us, that moment mattered. It was human. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The compassion is being funded by the same entrepreneurs everyone romanticises but never protects. Because while corporation tax stayed still, dividends or actual income just became more expensive overnight. And I'm tired of pretending that's fine. We create jobs. We pay VAT, PAYE, corporation tax, NI, software, subscriptions, accountants, insurance, rent. We take the risk. We go without holidays, without sick pay, without safety nets, and now we're being asked again to do our bit. We always do our bit. So if you're a business owner feeling a little punched in the ribs today, you're not dramatic, you're paying attention. Your strategy needs to change. Review your salary dividend split. Model next year's tax bill now. Consider pensions and ISAs. Stop extracting without intention. And if you don't know where to start, that's literally what we do at Tax for Pros. Book a call at taxforpros.co.uk and we'll rebuild your extraction plan before April hits like a poorly timed HMRC letter. So after all of that, here's the real question. What does this budget mean for you? Because scrolling TikTok isn't a tax strategy. Hoping HMRC forgets isn't a tax strategy. Manifesting lower dividends definitely isn't a tax strategy. I've tried. If you're a business owner, director, contractor, landlord, your numbers just changed. Your extraction plan just changed. Your future tax bill definitely just changed. So don't guess, plan. Join the YouTube membership. There's a button up here somewhere if you're on desktop, and there's a link in the description if you're on mobile. Write down your questions and leave them in the membership group, so I can read them and answer them in the coming weeks. Book a call with the team at taxforpros.co.uk. Let's run your numbers, restructure where needed, optimise extraction and protect your income before HMRC finishes celebrating. And if you haven't already downloaded it, grab the tax game plan. That's in the description below as well. We're updating it this week with the new dividend rates, thresholds, allowances, all of that nice stuff. It's the cheapest tax saving document you'll ever buy, and it might save you thousands. Because here's the truth. You built the business, you took the risk, you create the jobs, the innovation, the value. You shouldn't be last in line for your own money. Stop surviving tax, start strategizing it. Links are below. Pick the option that fits where you are, and let's make sure this budget funds your future, not just Westminster's. I'm Sarah from Tax for Pros, building wealth, not just businesses.